Welcome to the Shared Services and Outsourcing Week. My name is Naomi Secor, SSON's Global Managing Director, and I'm really pleased to be presenting with you today. I wish it could be in person, but next year, hopefully, we will all be able to come together on site. Today, I'm going to share with you highlights from SSON's annual State of the Industry survey with a focus on the APAC region. Every year, the SSON surveys our members. In this particular study, we have more than 800 participants, and we seek to understand things like future operating models, where shared services organizations plan to increase scope, what is their priority for technology investment. And we put all of this together in our State of the Industry report. I'm going to share highlights with you today, the full report, and all the data from SSON that we collect is available in SSON Analytics, which is the Global Data Analytics Center of the Shared Services and Outsourcing Network. And I'm going to take you through that tool towards the end of the presentation, where you can, just so that you can understand how you can access all of the data year-round at your fingertips. So first, we started off by asking, what services does your SSC provide? I think it's just impressive here, the sheer number of services delivered across shared services and GBS organizations. The top 4 services provided by APAC shared services organizations are procure to pay, F&A, IT, and payroll. Half of them offer NDM, HR, and order to cash. Only 16% right now are offering front office support and sales and marketing. I think those trend towards the integrated office, where we are looking at bringing together pieces of the front, middle, and back office into an integrated enterprise. I think we are going to see some of those other more front office services definitely move up. Also, the pandemic has just, magnified the great work that shared services organizations do. Our service levels were maintained. In many cases, they even increased. And with that, the enterprise is coming to shared services and saying, what more can you take on? And so now it's about keeping up with demand. Are you planning to expand your scope of work next year? Nearly 80% of APAC respondents do plan to expand the scope of work, and the scope expansion is primarily focused on offering more service lines. Top priority for service expansions is data analytics, followed by F&A, IT, and HR. And globally, the expansion priorities are in HR and data analytics. So with data analytics, absolutely, this is the name of the game, and also upskilling and teaching data skills. Also, we see HR increasingly as a stable part of HR shared services organizations. Certainly, it's a key pillar in global business services. But we do see that technology for HR hasn't yet caught up to some of the technologies in, for example, finance and accounting. And this is something I think we're also going to see grow significantly over the years. So then we looked at what's changing most as a result of future of work adoption. Well, 2/3 of APAC shared services organizations are translating future of work to embedding remote work into organizational design. This is a fundamental redesign of work processes to allow for more remote and virtual work. We have to think about where the work gets done, who does the work, how does it get done. It's also about certainly investing in new technologies that support process execution, workflow, and recognizing the need to upskill staff for higher value work. What lever are you prioritizing to drive future of work? I like to look at this in 2 buckets. You have 40% focused on redesign process workflows and technology, and you've got 38% focused on team engagement and work from home. So you have the harder and the softer elements, which do need to come together to form a cohesive future of work strategy. So, the pandemic has forced future of work onto shared services organizations. And second to aggressively adopting automation is this focus on future of work within shared services organizations. And so we do have to get this right. So how will future work impact your future service delivery model? Well, nearly half respondents believe that it presents an opportunity to take advantage of automation as organizations become less reliable on physical networks. At the same time, 42% expect the model to become more virtual and remote. And the impact on outsourcing, according to this data, so far is negligible. What do you see the biggest impact on your operations? So more resilient services, right? This is going to be driven by agile work practices, more focus on cloud, more focus on, certainly the right BCP plans, and allowing us to design, have an operating model that allows us to have more agility and resiliency in our services, and that we can scale up as needed. What will most likely define your HR strategy going forward? Well, more than half of the survey respondents confirm a shift from roles to skills. Yes, and we continue to see this, less about titles and more about the actual skill set. Few, however, have a clear idea on the impact of full-time employees, whether that's onshore or offshore. And in addition, despite the lip service given to more gig workers and an increasingly agile human resource strategy, the data doesn't support it yet in this area, but it is something that we are going to watch because there's tremendous opportunity there. What's the most important capability for your team going forward? Well, certainly process design and continuous improvement. As we're continuing to add services and scope to shared services organization, there must be the commitment to continuous process improvement. And benchmarking is a key way to understand how you are performing against other shared services organizations. Do we need to make a change? Is there a case here for investment in new technology? So it also allows us to, present our business case for increasing scope, et cetera, when we know exactly how we are performing. And what will drive enabled future IA-based success? Well, we can see that a commitment to data digitization is certainly a leading factor. We are all about this right now at the Shared Services Network, lots of reports and events on intelligent document processing, how we can digitize our documents, how we can get that data flowing seamlessly throughout the organization, what are the right processes to start with, but we do need to move towards this digitized data, certainly. It's going to allow for enhanced customer centricity, which is emerging as one of the core differentiators of shared services. So this is interesting. This one is looking at, are you currently using these solutions to some degree? RPA is leading. It's deployed across typical shared services processes, most commonly procure to pay and record to reports, currently much more rarely applied in customer service and HR. This is because those two functional areas, need the interaction, which can be provided very successfully through the use of chatbots. So no surprise there, but what I do think we're going to see is the rise of chatbots in areas like finance and accounting. So what's your IA investment priority? Most shared services organizations are still highly focused on RPA. AI is the second most popular investment priority, ranked significantly behind RPA, and you can take a look at some of the other ones. So I wanted to stop sharing here and give you a brief demonstration of SSON analytics. Okay, so I talked about before that SSON Analytics, this is where we house all of our data, and we provide benchmarking tools, location comparison tools, and a lot of research available to our members of SSON Analytics. It's a 12-month subscription. It's very easy for you to get involved, and you can start using this right away. So would love to talk to you more about the opportunity. Please do connect with me. I wanted to give you a brief demo. We are in our metric and intelligence hub right here. This is where you can benchmark the performance of your SSO against 120 metrics by industry, by location. I've set this at day sales outstanding. You see we have 122 metrics though. You pick your industry and it's going to give you an immediate view, real-time view. The yellow always represents your median class. So here you can see 32% have between 30 and 45 days sales outstanding. It's also going to give you the definition up top of the metric that you're looking for. This is if I want to benchmark against a general data population. You also have the ability to benchmark against the top 20 most admired shared services organizations in the world. So we every year embark on this very intensive study where these shared services organizations give us their data across key process areas, and we make that data available to subscribers of SSON Analytics. So these were the top 20 most admired of 2020. Congratulations. In just a couple of weeks, we're going to be starting the data collection for next year's. And so if you'd like to learn how you can apply and become involved in this study, love to talk to you more about it. But if I want to, before I showed you how to benchmark against a general population, if I want to benchmark against this specific data set, I can easily do that as well. And let me show you how. So I would go into the metric checker, and I would choose my metric. You know, we can look here at AP invoice cycle time, and it's going to show you the results from this particular study. Now, this is looking globally, but you can change that if you'd like to your region. All of this you can export. So it's great to put in presentations. It's great to share with your vendor partners, to have good conversation around where we are, or we maybe where we need to be, or where we're performing really well. The other thing that you can do, which is new to SSON Analytics, is to create your own customizable benchmarking reports to see where you stack up against a general data population or the top 20. So it allows you to put in your own information and then get a customized report. So what you would do is you're going to check the box to let us know that the data that you're putting in is accurate. And you'll put in your industry and your location, and you can select up to 6 metrics at a time. So we do have 122 metrics. So you can do this for every single metric that we have, but at one time, you can only do up to 6. So if I wanted to look at, for example, cost per pay slip, so you can see it's going to ask me to select my band. So if I am between 5 and 750, and I'm going to generate my report, it's going to show me then, here's where I put my input, and it's going to show me where I stack up against the top, medium, and bottom quartile there. This is against the peer group, and this would be against the this is against the peer group, and this would be against the top 20 most admired shared services organizations. And when you do download these reports, they come like this, a really nice representation of the information, very visually easy to read. The other thing I want to show you is the city cube. This is where you can compare up to 3,800 locations by 18 different variables, things like salary data, cost per FTE, what languages are available in that particular area. So you can compare up to 7 cities at one time. You would just simply change these cities to anything that you wanted. And you can look at the different variables. You know, this is showing a side-by-side comparison of the number of shared services organizations. If I wanted to look at cost of labor, for example, cost per full-time employee, I can look also at, for example, cost of center operations. This icon is always going to tell you what is the information that you're looking at, and it's also going to tell you how often the data is refreshed. So we do quarterly benchmarking studies to refresh the benchmarks. A lot of this is updated annually, weekly, monthly. And even if we want to look at talent availability here, for example, this is looking at the number of function-specific SSCs, professionals, self-tagged. So they have self-tagged themselves in these particular areas. So you can see, especially if you're looking at expanding shared services, just seeing how you stack up against other shared services organizations with regards to what talent can I find in these cities, what's the cost per FTE, you know, what's the average annual salary data. These are all things that I'm able to look at. The last thing that I wanted to show you here is the analytic workbook. So we have over 120 of these available. And what we do is we put together all of the data into these beautiful reports that, again, you can download. But we also help to contextualize the data and really sum it up. And also, all of the data that we collect from our particular surveys, we put in these reports, right? So whereas we can provide highlights through presentations and things like that, this is where you can actually get all of the results from that data. So this is one that we commissioned with EY and BCG, looking at the future of GBS as digital. I love this report. I mean, if we want to look at things like scope of operations, we can click through all of the individual tabs and look at FTEs in GBS roles. Another tab here is looking at the comparison of the capability versus the relevant processes, tools, and data. This will look at, for example, what technologies are you prioritizing for investment in the next 3 years? And then we summarize all this in the sidebar for you. So that was a lot. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I just want to say, enjoy the rest of the event. The content looks absolutely amazing. Thank you for your time today. Please do get in touch if you'd like more information about anything that I presented, or it'd be great to just get in touch with you anyway. So thanks again.